Good day everyone, my name is Nicole Semilia.
And I am Miss Riza S. Sarmiento.
And today, we're going to discuss about Chapter 11, School Policies and their Functions. So, before we proceed to our topic for today, let's know first the learning outcome. So, the learning outcome is at the end of this chapter, you should be able to explain the importance of school policies in school operation. Introduction. Schools are institutions motivated by a shared vision. Necessarily, school must have policies for them to realize their visions and missions. These policies are a reflection of the values of the people who created them. Whatever policies are formulated must be redound to the improvement of teaching, learning of learners, which is the very reason of the existence of the schools. In this chapter, we will focus on the school policies that govern school and the community partnership. Let's read this. Group yourselves by 6, then share your answer to these questions. For groups 1, 2, and 3, here is a part of the policy on grading given by the DepEd Central in DepEd Order 8S 2015 dated April 1, 2015. Study the components and the corresponding percentage weight. Table 7. Weight of components for grades 1 to 10. For group 4, 5, 6, read this policy on students' absences and tardiness. A learner who incurs absences of more than 20% of the prescribed number of class or laboratory period during the school year or semester should be given failing grade, not earn credits for the learning area or subjects. Furthermore, the school head may, at his/her discretion, and in the individual case exempt a learner who exceeds the 20% limit for reasons considered valid and acceptable to the school. The discretionary authority is vested in the school head and may not be availed by the students or granted by a faculty member without the consent of the school head. DepEd Order No. 8, 2015. Habitual tardiness, especially during the first period of the morning and in the afternoon, is discouraged. Teachers shall inform the parents, guardians through a meeting if a learner has incurred 5 consecutive days of tardiness. For all students, read this excerpt of DepEd Order 54/2009. Activities, all PTA activities within the school premises or which involve the school, its personnel or student shall be with prior consultations and approval of the school head. Financial matters, such collection shall be made by the PTA subjects to the following conditions. If collection of the school publication fee, Supreme Student Government or SSG, Developmental Fund, and other club membership fees and contribution is coursed through the PTA, as requested by the concerned organizations, the amount collected shall be remitted immediately to the school. SSG or other students' organization concerned on the day it was collected, the pertinent organizations shall deposit the funds with the reputable bank on the next banking day under organization's account. No service fee shall be charged against any student's organization by the PTA. Non-compliance or any violations of the aforementioned conditions shall be ground for the cancellation of the PTA's recognition and or the filing of appropriate charges as the case may be. Policy and collections of contributions. A PTA may collect voluntarily financial contribution from members and outside sources to fund and sustain in operation. A PTA's programs and projects shall be in line with the School Improvement Plan or called SIP. The SIP is a comprehensive plan for improving the educational environment in the school where it operates. This means that if you are a PTA officers, you can collect funds that will use to assist the project of school if someone voluntary to donate. The contribution should be a reasonable amount as may be determined by the PTA Board of Directors. Non-payment of the contributions by the parent member shall not be basis for non-admission or non-issuance of clearance to the child by the school concerned. So, it's unethical if someone refused to let you enroll because you didn't pay the contributions. Next is the contribution shall be collected by the PTA treasurer on the per parent member basis regardless on the number of their children in school. So it says that if there will be a contribution, the PTA treasurer is responsible for collecting it. The next one is no collection of PTA contribution shall be done during the enrolled period, and no teacher or any school personnel shall be involved in such collection activities. The PTA treasurer or a duly authorized representative shall undertake the collection and issue official receipt, acknowledgement receipt. In no case shall any school official or personnel be entrusted with the safekeeping and disbursement of collection made by the PTA. All disbursement of funds shall be in accordance with the generally accepted accounting and auditing rules and regulations. As I previously stated, the PTA treasurer are responsible for the collections and issuance of the receipt. PTAs are prohibited from interfering in the academic and administrative management and operation of schools and of the DepEd in general, engaging in any partisan political activity within school premises, operating a canteen or school supply store, or being a concessionaire thereof inside the school or nearby premises, or offering the services to the school as its client directly or indirectly, selling insurance, pre-need plan or similar schemes or programs to students and or their parents, and such other acts or circumstances analogs to the foregoing. So, the next topic will be discussed by Ms. Risa Sarmiento.
After the report of Miss Emilia, now we are going to tackle about the importance of policies. Then what it is? The vision statement and mission statement were just given emphasis here. What is the vision statement talks about? As stated here, it is a schools in partnership with their community have their own picture of what they want to be, whereas the mission statement saying that some must offer services and must do what they are supposed to do. In a short explanation, both are in essence in order to realize what they envision themselves to be. Now, we are here in the focus of policy. What is the focus of policy? I knew it already that we are all familiar with the focus of policy. As just located here, this is to put everything inside the classroom be in proper and perfect. In addition, policy is just a rule. So, therefore, we must obey to what policy is speaking for, because in fact, this is for our own good itself. Like what I said, herein, everything wants to be surely accurate and accordingly. So, the following have a simple reflection on how policy is important. The first situation is about the school's policy on the grading system. As located here, this is important. Why? For everyone concerned to know how grades are computed. Both students and parents know how grades are derived objectively. And I believe that is their right. Percentage rates for each components are clear. And that it is. Now, what is the second situation? This is about the teachers are guided in their assessment practices. Teachers are guided, and it is basically aligned with the importance of having the policies inside the classroom. The grading policy, grading may become highly subjective. Now, let's think and analyze the question presented in the slide. What will be happened if there is no policies along with the student? What will be the possible outcome or result? Basically, as stated here, if there is no policies on students, tardiness and absenteeism, student may just come late or absent. That is the common consequences of not having a policy. So, it is important because the policies here is about certainly will curb tardiness and absenteeism, which is really dynamic because the goal of policy herein student is to ensure learning. One of the common example I have here is talk about honesty is the best policy. The sounds is truly familiar to every student because during high school days, it was posted on a classroom wall. Significantly, the purpose of this policy is to remind the student in terms of committing plagiarism. Sometimes, a student took a mistake or others may just doing plagiarism due to hassle of time, which was inaccurate or unduly to do so. Yet, it was constrainable because of having policy against of that. In that common of phrases, we can see the significance of having a good policy inside the classroom. Finally, we are here in the effective of policy formulation and implementation in a school-community partnership. Let's think about it. Is school formulate a policy or school needs to formulate a policy just to address a local problem? In fact, this is how it should be in a school-community partnership. Ideally, a policy must not be formulated by the school head by himself or herself, meaning the act of the school head must or should lead in the policy formulation process. School head is the one who formulates the process of doing such a school policy. The word lead implies that an effective policy formulation process must be participatory. Therefore, collaboration from outside the classroom or even inside the classroom community is truly involved. Not only the school and the school head can formulate the process of policy, but the others too is highly applicable. Seeing that, let us proceed to the next slide. Two good heads are better than one. One of the basic examples is that working collaboratively to one's department without the presence of other employees, the project will no longer be succeed as they like. This is mainly because of lack in terms of involvement. Besides, participation of school and community, what is the sense of works from them? As answered here, through school and community partnership, they develop a sense of ownership, which ensures a more effective implementation. Aside from involving the school and community in policy formulation, outvalue as school head must ensure wide dissemination and correct and clear understanding of the policy. Well, why does a school head needs to ensure the policy correct and understandable? Basically, because to make the policy more effective and wholesome. In conclusion, school and community where subjectively has an extreme involvement from one another. That is why they are called our partnership in doing such effective policy. Policy would no longer be gainful enough if one of them was absent. This means both of them have an essence indeed.
So, for today's lessons, here are the takeaways. Policies are intended to ensure that schools perform and realize what they have envisioned themselves. There are policies that come from authorities above the school since the school is a member of a bigger organization or system. But schools are also empowered to formulate their own policies to address their concern, speedily provided they are not contrary to policies that come from above. School policies are effective when they are formulated with the participation of the member of the school and community, as this develops sense of ownership which ensure implementation of the family. Policies must also be widely disseminated for the information of the entire system, school and community, and must be understood correctly and clearly. Policies set orders in school. The absence of clear-cut policies may court chaos. So, let's proceed to analysis. Let's analyze. For all groups, the first question is, how do you feel about the policies? Are you happy about them? Or are you happier without them? Why? Yes, I am glad with the policy because it serves as a guide to effectively carrying out school responsibilities. For Group 1 to 3, what if school had no policies on grading system? What may happen? What are the possible consequences on teaching and learning? We all know that grading system is very important, but if there had no policies and grading system, we are unable to analyze or assess each child's ability. For Group 4 to 6, what if school had no policies on the student tardiness and absences? What may happen? What are the possible consequences on school atmosphere, on teaching and learning? If there had no policies on the student tardiness and absences, many students will be irresponsible since they are unaware on the proper guidelines about the school, which will drive them drop out of the school. For all groups, number 4 question is, based on the DepEd order on PTA collections, why are schools very strict with money collections? Schools are very strict with money collections because not everyone are capable of paying such collections. They enroll their child in public school knowing that they don't need to pay anything. That's why it is public schools.
Number 6. If schools can formulate their own policies, come from DepEd Central Office, can school also formulate their own policies? If yes, why? If no, why not? I might say that schools can formulate their own policies, especially when it comes to those private schools. If the implemented policies are intended to help schools teach students efficiently, fairly, and safely, as per the regulatory norms, this might be surely approved. Number 7. What is an advantage of a policy formulated by the school community over that policy which comes from above? There is no denial in the fact that if schools may formulate their own policy, maybe the advantages are as follows. First, the local school community make themselves available to the community when citizens want to express their opinions. Second, they can also conduct publicized, open meetings to discuss issues and hear stakeholders' opinions. Third, more understanding may occur between the school stakeholders and community players. Lastly, school board members make decisions that the community agrees. Much interaction may arise and unity could visible downcast to school policy accomplishment.
Application. Let's apply. A. Interview a school head on at least one school policy formulated under her leadership. Ask the following. First, why was it formulated? Second is, how was it formulated? Was it formulated with representatives from the school and community? Why or why not? The third is, does the implementation of policy address the problem for which it was created? If it doesn't, what's next step is being planned? According to Mr. Dino Nepomuceno, he implemented intensity school governance to improve school integrity and security. It was formulated because teachers, parents, and other stakeholders noticed that the school has no security and less in integrity due to the following reasons: presence of stray animals inside the school, worn out concrete fence that resulted to open access for unauthorized person entering the school campus, such as deliveryman, collector, etc., that offered services to local or neighboring households. Presence of in-house vendor. Those vendors sell candies, junk foods, etc. from 6:30 a.m. to 2 p.m. Bilaran ng palay during Saturday and Sunday. Sampayan ng damit even during school days. Some parents frequently visit to the classroom even without proper excuse. Number 2. How was it formulated? Was it formulated with a representative from the school and community? Why or why not? The policy was formulated in the presence of the PTA officers, school personnel, barangay LGUs, and the other stakeholders. Why? Knowing the importance of their support and the fact that they are our kasangga, we really invited them and include them in the making policy. Number 3. Does the implementation of policy address the problem for which it was created? If it doesn't, what's next step is being planned? Yes, it reduced the member of disturbance, istorbo, abala to the teacher while having class. The school physical appearance improved, especially in terms of its integrity and security. We sent an appointment to the principal of Kawit National High School, which is Mr. Dino Nepomuceno, to interview him for our report because we knew that he will give us the best answer and accurate information that we needed in our report. Unfortunately, due to an important matter, he needed to attend to a meeting and he insisted that we just gave him the questions that he needed and he will just write his answer and send his handwritten answer to us.
B. Do a simulation. One of you plays the role of a school head. 3 will be teacher representatives. 4 will be officers of the Parent-Teachers Association. 4 are barangay officials. 4 are the other members of the community, such as alumni, NGO representative, church representative, and 3 student leaders. The problem in school is malnutrition. Many kids are sleepy, malnourished, and are underperforming. This is true most especially for kids who walk to school 1 hour from home. They eat their baon upon arrival in school, so no more to eat for lunch. As a result, they are restless and inattentive and so poor performance. You are the school head, preside in the meeting. What policy will you formulate to address the problem? Since malnutrition is a serious condition that happens when diet not contain the right balance of nutrients for optimal health, so in accordance, malnutrition is one of the perilous obstacles for every student to come up with a better quality of their learnings. Undeniably, there are schools having this case with regards on their students. As far as I know, it is better for the school head to formulate a plan of action for nutrition just to address a local problem and at the meantime to achieve food security and good nutrition not only for one but for all. This entails a change in perspective. Steps to achieve food security are no longer a matter of policy discretion but a legal obligation. School must give this problem to the government since it is also a society's problem. It requires institutions and processes that empower the people, increase transparency and accountability, and ensure access to those assets for poorer and more vulnerable groups. Much better to work a plan just to identify such problem and at least to provide basic needs of students. For instance, every Friday of the week, there will be a feeding program for the benefits of malnourished students. So in conclusion, students probably might be able to perform their everyday school tasks and gradually become an active in performing their health activities. The other members of the class who are not involved in the simulation are observers and evaluators. They will be asked to comment on the simulation at the end of the activity. Here are the specific criteria. Number 1. Participation of the group. Was there an active participation of the group? Number 2. School head. How open was the school head, the presider, to ideas or suggestions shared? What did she do to encourage everyone to participate? Number 3. Decision making. Was the decision arrived at by a consensus? And the last one is respect. Was respect of ideas and participants evident? Now, let us proceed to the question letter C. If you were formulate policy on food items sold at the cooperative store of your school, which would you do as a school head? Why? As a school head, I will make sure that the food safety standards are strictly enforced and adhered to at all times by complying with the DepEd policies on food safety in schools. It is a principal's duty to oversee the effective management of the school canteen and to underscore the responsibility for any untoward incident that may happen in school due to non-compliance with the school health policies and food safety guidelines. Letter D. Read April 11, 2018, DM66S 2018-2018 Brigada Eskwela Implementing Guidelines. Individually, present a policy that you read in the DepEd Memorandum. Explain what the policy states and why this policy is necessary.
The month of June is always the start of opening schools and resuming classes, but before the school year starts, there is always an event called the Brigada Eskwela, which aims to bring all together all the education stakeholders and also requiring the participation of the parents of every child in order to help in preparing for the resuming of classes of their children. The Brigada Eskwela always aim for the development and repairing the needs of their schools for their upcoming classes. The school head implements different policies in the Brigada Eskwela Implementing Guidelines and DM066S 2018. Making a creative learning environment is always the best their top priority. And also, having clean water supply can help every student to not obtain infectious diseases. With the help of clean water supply, they can also practice proper oral hygiene and proper hand washing when it comes to public bathrooms. They also make sure that they repair and clean every single one in order for the student to feel comfortable in using it and staying away from germs. The Department of Education pursues the enclosed policy and guidelines for the accessible water, sanitation, and hygiene in school. WINS program in order for the safety of students and also for promoting the correct method of hygiene and sanitation practices in every school. A clean environment is always the best when it comes to the students' learning and safety. The policy's main objective is to promote proper knowledge and understanding in every learning of the effects of hygiene and sanitation project to improve the access of potable and clean waters, clean and adequate toilet bowls, and hand washing stations.
Let's check for understanding. Number 1. Why are policies important in a school? Number 2. List down at least 2 school policies, one from central office and another from the school level. Explain the purpose behind the policy. Next is, let's reflect. What is my attitude towards school policies? Do I welcome them? Next is taking it to the net. Number 1. Research school policies on attendance, tardiness, uniforms, ID special examinations, know the why behind the policies. Let's clinchers. Number 1. What are PTAs prohibited from doing? 1. Interfering in the academic and administrative management and operation of the school and of the DepEd. 2. Engaging in any partisan's political activity within the school premises. 3. Operating a canteen, school supply store, or being a concessionaire thereof inside the school as its client either directly or indirectly. A. 1, 2, and 3. B. 2 and 3. C. 1 and 2. D. 1 and 3. Number 2. Which statement on the school policies is correct? A. They suffocate school climate. B. They help ensure realizations of school goals. C. They become from above and so by all means be observed. D. They cannot be changed. Number 3. Which is the most effective way of making policies? A. School head to involve stakeholders. B. Students not to participate since policies are for them. C. Only parents of students enrolled are involved. D. School policies are permanent to build the culture of excellence. Number 4. Why is there a policy on grading? 1. To fulfill the purposes of assessment. 2. For fair grade computation. 3. For the guidance and information of all. A. 1 and 2. B. 1 and 3. C. 2 and 3. D. 1, 2, and 3. Number 5. The Sabbath is made for man and not man for the Sabbath. What does this imply regarding policies? A. Policies are formulated to help people in the organization. B. Policies should not be adjusted when people in organizations cannot abide by the policy. C. Policies are orders from above like the law of the Sabbath. D. Laws are formulated by man and women in society. So, that's all for today. God bless and take care everyone.